The sarcastic monk stood up slowly and looked toward the enormous mountains beyond the monastery.
You wish to find the cave of the yogi once called Bogar.
Clara floated beside the monk and nodded. Yes.
Very well. I will tell you the first secret.
Fish leaned forward in his floating bubble. There are secrets already. Good.
Bogar did not choose his cave randomly. The place where he meditates is a place where the mountain itself listens.
The mountain listens? Jonathan flapped down from the railing. That sounds poetic, the seagull said.
It is also literal. Certain places in the world are very sensitive to vibration, sound, thought, intention. The mountain where Bogar sits responds to these things.
Clara slowly looked back toward the monastery. You mean the vibration from my machine? Yes, said Aurelian. Fish raised one fin. So if she produces that vibration again,
the mountain will answer.
Buck the chicken strutted proudly across the courtyard. I told him this would become interesting, he said. You tell a lot of people things, do you not? Constantly, Buck replied. Aurelian turned to Clara. Let us try something. Clara closed her eyes. The familiar tone of the universal vibration filled her awareness. The same quiet frequency she had discovered while building the strange little machine in her kitchen. The mountain stood silent for a moment. Then something happened. Far across the valley, one of the peaks shimmered slightly in the sunlight. Fish gasped. I think the mountain just winked. Jonathan circled into the air. Yes, he said. That peak is glowing. The sarcastic monk nodded calmly. There, Clara opened her eyes and followed their gaze. One distant mountain now carried a faint golden shimmer along its rocky face, like sunlight that refused to leave.
The mountain heard you.
Buck flapped his wings with excitement. Well then, the chicken announced. I believe we have a cave to visit. Clara opened her eyes again inside the monastery courtyard. Her astral form still floated gently beside Aurelian. The golden shimmer on the distant mountain had not disappeared. It pulsed slowly, like a quiet heartbeat inside the stone. Fish stared at it with wide eyes. I have lived in water my entire life, he said. I have never seen a mountain blink before. Jonathan circled high above the courtyard. It is definitely responding, he called down.
Yes, that is where Bogar sits.
Clara looked at the enormous distance between them and the shining mountain. So we just fly there?
If it were that simple, everyone would visit.
Buck the chicken scratched the ground thoughtfully. There is a path, he said. That sounds promising. Buck nodded. It is a path that does not exist. That sounds less promising.
The path appears only to those who are not trying too hard to find it.
Fish groaned. Ah, one of those paths.
The vibration Clara discovered will guide us.
Jonathan landed beside him. You mean the mountain will keep responding to her? Yes, so the mountain is basically playing a game of warmer and colder with us. Exactly, said Fish. Buck suddenly jumped onto a stone wall. Well then, the chicken announced proudly, we should begin. You are coming with us? Buck puffed his chest. Of course, I know these mountains.
You got lost here 3 times yesterday.
Buck ignored him. I know them spiritually. Fish turned to Aurelian. Is it normal that our guide is a philosophical chicken?
About as normal as a talking fish and a flying glass ball.
Clara looked once more at the glowing mountain peak. Something about it felt welcoming, ancient, patient, like a teacher that had been waiting a very long time. All right, let us go find the cave of Bogar. Jonathan took off. Aurelian stepped forward calmly, and Buck the chicken marched proudly ahead. Behind them, the sarcastic monk poured himself a cup of tea and sat on the monastery steps. He watched the strange group heading toward the mountains and shook his head gently.
Every few centuries, things become interesting again.
Clara floated beside Aurelian, still adjusting to the strange feeling of traveling without a body. Below them, steep cliffs dropped into deep valleys filled with mist. Snow rested quietly on the higher peaks, glowing under the soft sunlight. The sarcastic monk's voice suddenly echoed in Clara's mind. You are trying too hard again. I am floating through the sky toward a glowing mountain. Of course I am trying. Try less, the voice replied. Clara relaxed. Just a little. something changed immediately. The air in front of them shimmered. A narrow valley appeared where before there had only been solid rock. A hidden passage between two cliffs, almost invisible unless one was not looking directly at it. Fish gasped. There is the path that does not exist. Jonathan flew closer, more like a path that refuses to be noticed. Boak nodded proudly. I knew it would appear. They entered the valley. Everything became quiet, very quiet. No wind, no distant birds. Even the light felt softer here. Clara felt something unusual, not external, internal. Her thoughts slowed even more, as if the valley itself encouraged silence.
This place amplifies awareness.
Fish whispered, I feel like the valley is watching us. Jonathan landed briefly on a rock. It is not watching, he said. It is listening. Clara took a slow breath. The familiar vibration of the universe arose naturally within her again. The valley responded. A soft glow appeared along the stone walls, guiding them deeper inside. Buck stopped suddenly. They all paused. Ahead of them, the valley ended at a smooth rock face. No cave, no entrance, nothing. Are we in the wrong place? Aurelian stepped forward and placed his hand gently on the rock. He closed his eyes. The cave is here, he said. I do not see it.
That is because it is not meant to be seen.
The rock surface shimmered faintly, as if waiting, as if listening, as if deciding. Behind them, far away, a single sound echoed softly through the mountains. It sounded almost like a quiet chuckle. The group stood silently in front of the smooth rock face. No opening, no crack, no sign that anything existed behind it. Are you sure it is here?
Yes, I have been here before.
Fish floated closer to the wall. I have also been in this cave before, but I still do not like doors that pretend to be walls. Buck stepped forward with great confidence. I will handle this. Clara watched carefully. Buck cleared his throat. Oh, great ancient cave, he said proudly. We have arrived. Nothing happened. Fish nodded. Strong opening. Buck tried again. We bring enlightenment, curiosity, and also a fish. Still nothing. I do not think it responds to speeches.
It responds to resonance.
The vibration. Let me try. She closed her eyes. The now familiar tone appeared within her awareness. Not something she created anymore, but something she simply allowed. The same quiet frequency, the same stillness. For a moment nothing changed. Then the rock breathed, very slightly, like a sleeping giant remembering that it was alive. The surface of the stone began to ripple gently, as if it were no longer solid. A faint golden light appeared beneath it. Clara kept her eyes closed. The vibration deepened, not louder, deeper, more real. The rock slowly dissolved into light. And behind it, a cave, simple, quiet, ancient. Inside, a single figure sat motionless. Clara opened her eyes. Her breath caught. The air itself felt different there, still, timeless. The figure slowly opened his eyes. They were calm, clear, as if they had been watching everything for a very long time.
Ah, you finally heard it.
You mean the vibration?
The one that was never hidden.
You brought it back into sound.
I think I found it. The yogi smiled slightly. No, he said. You remembered. The cave grew even more silent. Outside, the mountains stood still. Inside, something ancient had just begun again. The cave was simple. Stone walls, a quiet floor, no decoration. Clara stood in front of the yogi, still feeling the gentle vibration within her, now stronger in this place. You made the powder.
Yes.
And you gave it to the monk, who gave it to my friend, who sent it to me. That seems very indirect.
Direct paths are rarely noticed.
Why did you make it?
To help you.
Me? I thought. Maybe it was to help everyone. Humanity, the world.
There's no separate humanity. You experience yourself as one person, a body, a mind, a story.
Yes, everyone does.
But what you truly are is not limited to that. You are not a part of the whole. You are the whole, appearing as a part.
Then, helping me.
Is helping all?
Fish blinked slowly. That is very efficient. Jonathan remained completely still. Aurelian smiled quietly. So my enlightenment.
Is not personal.
And everyone else?
There are no others in the way you imagine.
The words did not confuse her. They settled, like something remembered rather than learned.
The mind divides. Reality does not.
The cave, the mountains, the sky, the quiet hum of existence, all felt like the same thing, seen from different angles. Then the milkshake.
Was just a doorway.
Fish nodded. A delicious doorway. Buck puffed his chest. I always suspected enlightenment would involve snacks.
You did not become anything new. You stopped pretending to be something small.
Clara closed her eyes. For a moment there was no Clara. No cave. No journey. Just a quiet, endless presence. And it was enough. They stood at the entrance of the cave. The mountains stretched endlessly into the distance. Clara felt different. Not changed. Clear. Do you understand now? Aurelian asked. Clara nodded. Not with my mind, she said. That is the correct way, he replied. Fish floated beside her. So what happens next? The vibration is still here.
Yes, it always was.
Jonathan spread his wings slightly. And now? Now nothing needs to happen. Jonathan looked mildly disappointed. No grand mission? The mission was never outside. Fish sighed. I was hoping for at least a small quest.
This does not end anything. It simply makes everything lighter.
And clearer, said Aurelian.
Clara looked down toward the world far below. Cities, people, movement, noise, all of that. It is still me. Yes, said Aurelian, and I am still Clara. Fish tilted his head. That seems contradictory. Indeed it is. Jonathan laughed quietly. Good. Reality is working properly. A soft breeze moved through the mountains. For a moment, all of them stood in silence. No questions, no effort, just the simple presence of being. Clara closed her eyes once more. The vibration remained, not from the machine, not from the powder, not from the cave. It was everywhere. It had always been, and now it was heard.